Two sisters are now facing charges of allegedly attempting to extort and blackmail wealthy Nigerian businessmen and possibly some politicians. The sisters apparently have a large following on social media, Instagram to be specific, and they like to show off lavish gifts or lavish possessions that they have. Kiran and Giadi Matharu are the women. And the sisters threatened to release information about a wealthy Nigerian businessman, claiming that they had evidence that the energy tycoon had cheated on his wife. The Matharus reportedly threatened to go public with the details if he did not pay them off. Now, this businessman wasn't about to get extorted, right? He decided to hire a private investigator to kind of look into these women to see if there's anything shady going on. And they were able to uncover the fact that they've done this to many other people. So the sisters were caught with laptops and iPads that had the information of different people, including videotapes of men having sex with them, politicians, top-ranking businessmen in Nigeria. They also found email messages they exchanged with some people, blackmailing them, trying to extort money from them. And so they would secretly film or secretly record interactions, allegedly, that they had with these men, and then of course they would try to use that evidence against them in order to extort them for money.
So be careful when you're going after a guy with over $1 billion, because he's got money that he could give you, or he's got money that he could spend against you. So be careful what you wish for there. Now, secondly, if you're a top-ranking politician or businessman in any country, and the Matharus come your way, don't you think you should have a tiny bit of skepticism?
Yes. 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 Okay. So
do you think like they were like, oh my God, they just happened to find me incredibly attractive, even though I'm God knows how many years old, and I happen to be in a position of power, and these two hot women from Instagram decided they want me? What a wonderful coincidence.
Hold. Look, I think that men who have a tremendous amount of wealth and power are used to certain women giving them attention. Okay?
That's true, fair enough.
It's just a fact of life. You see it everywhere. You certainly see it a lot in Los Angeles, where much older guys will be seen with much younger girlfriends. And
you think that has something to do with money?
Maybe. And so if they don't suspect any possible potential foul play, I don't blame them, because they deal with this kind of stuff all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so it doesn't surprise me. And by the way, I don't want to victim blame, because in this case, the victims are the ones who are being extorted. And look, whether they're married or not, it's none of my business, and I don't want to get into that personal stuff. What I don't like is when people try to exploit or take advantage of individuals, and that's what these women allegedly did. And so I'm glad that they got caught. And by the way, this kind of stuff drives me crazy, okay? So social media is all about flaunting like the stuff that you allegedly have, right? But it's not sexy or cool or interesting if you didn't earn it, right? Okay, so you're hot women who pose in a bunch of pictures with your titties out, and you think like, oh my God, like look at this private jet that I'm on. Yeah, who cares? Who cares, right? Go do something with your life. Go do something. It drives me insane.
Let's just be clear about what they're bragging about. Because it's not like they ran businesses and then became wealthy.
Exactly.
Like they slept with wealthy men, it turns out, according to the allegations, to take more money from them. Now, people who sleep with other people for money, what are they called? Right? I think we know what they're called. So this is, let alone the fact that even if they didn't do the extortion, like their main bragging is, I slept with this guy and so I'm on his jet. And so what is that called? And so, but they're so proud, right?
Yeah.
Oh, look at me, I'm prostituting myself across the whole world. Wow. I'd say write home about it, except you wrote the whole world about it.
Yeah, and look, let me be clear. I have no problem with people who work in the sex work industry, right? I think that's fine. At least those who do are honest about what they do. In this case, these women pose as if they're like these accomplished women living this lavish, luxurious lifestyle. You haven't done anything. The only thing that you've allegedly done is try to extort people, right? And so I don't know. I hope that there'll be justice in this case. And for any young women or young people in general who see this kind of stuff on social media and that's what you aspire to do, aspire for more, right? Yeah. Do something with your life that you feel fulfilled by. These jets and these fancy clothes and the titties hanging out, there's nothing exciting about that.
Yeah, Instagram is not that complicated because there's a lot of young guys who do find that very exciting, of course.
Yeah.
So, like, either you're on there because you want to keep up with family and friends and go, oh, look at that, you know, Bob was over there and that's a pretty place that he was, or he took a fun picture. I didn't know that was there in New York. Or TNA, that's it. So 2 things on Instagram. And so, like, they think that they're, like, rock stars because they just shove their breasts together and put it on Instagram, right? That doesn't make you a star. That makes you something else. Okay, just get real. If you sign up for TYT membership, you'll be saying,
thanks a lot, bitch.
TYTnetwork.com/join.